Hey everyone, welcome to the Get Your Life Together Girl Mini Mindset Reset. I'm your host, Danielle. As a cognitive behavioral therapist, a life coach to women, and author, one thing has become abundantly clear. So much of what gets in our way in our daily lives is not only how we think, but what we think, our mindset. Because of that, every other week, I'm taking your requests and questions and handing over quick, easy to use, practical strategies and life tools to help you shift your thinking, create calm, help you understand and express your emotions, harness your inner power, and learn how to navigate your personal story in 15 minutes or less. After all, how else can you get your life together? So let's shift your perspective with the tools and conversations that help you in the throes of change. The Get Your Life Together Girl podcast mini mindset reset starts right now. The new year is here, which means many people are thinking about new goals, resolutions, and intentions. But with this massive push to create change, often comes a feeling of not being good enough as we are in the current state of our lives. But the great news is that when we are in this mindset, all we have to do is give ourselves a small shift in our perspective to get back to the good. That is really the good news. And that's just what Ava from Arizona wrote in and asked about today. She said, Danielle, I hate the new year. I'm not fond of resolutions. I don't like acting like everything changes because the calendar changes. It doesn't really seem to work that way. I'm struggling with being okay where I am, and all the conversations about making the new year different, they're really becoming too much for me. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I feel like I'm supposed to be living differently because everyone else seems to be doing just that. How can I be okay with where I am? I'm working on change, but I don't feel like it has to all be set to a time frame that everyone else is adhering to. Please help. Ava, I completely agree. What we want, need, and are working to create doesn't have to be on anyone else's time frame. It doesn't have to be connected to a new turn in a calendar. It's all about us. As to the question of how can we be happy where we currently are, let's dive right into that and do a bit of evaluation. Because again, it doesn't matter if it's a new year or the middle of July, being happy with where we are is a state of mind and focus. And it also comes down to appointing ourselves as the top influencer of our life. So, happiness is a choice. We have to choose to be happy where we are. And it's actually living a very mindful way, and it's something that many people struggle with. And the reason why is we humans are constantly striving through the framework of thinking that we're not enough, or we need to be better, or we need more, or everything would be better when, right? We fall into this habit of lack thinking. And it's here that we lean into this idea that we have to shed everything that we are and have to be better, which if I was a betting woman, I'm not. But I have a feeling that's why Ava and so many like her have rejected the idea of new year, new you. So if we go back to Ava's original question, how can we be happy where we are? And here we turn to a few behaviors, a few thoughts, and do a little bit of introspection to evaluate just where we are and choose our mindset. One of the very first things that we do is actually hidden in Ava's question, and it's to stop falling into the comparison trap. As I said just a few minutes ago, we have to be the influencer of our lives in order to celebrate it as it is. And all too often, we find ourselves chasing after something we do not actually want, but we think we need. Comparison is all too easy these days, too. The minute we open social media, we're hit with the best of the best. The perfect home, the best outfit, the best thing we need from Amazon. And it gets bigger and better each time we move to the next reel. But to be happy with where we are, we have to stop and remember that someone else's talent or success or what they have has never been, nor will it ever be, our personal failure. Let that soak in. Let it hit you. What someone else does is actually not impactful on our happiness. In order to be happy with where you are, you have to be willing to actively stop looking outward and start focusing on your own path. The rest is just noise. Sure, it's easy for me to say, just let go of the comparison. But if you want to be good with where you are, you have to start living as if you're good with where you are. Next, you need to think about your reasoning and your why. Ultimately, seeking improvement is good. In fact, it's better than good. But it never has to come at the cost of your mental, emotional, or physical health, which is what often happens when we push more without understanding how something will impact us or even where we are. So we can dive in and do a bit of solid justification, meaning looking at where we are versus where we want to be, right? So a lot of times we have things that are happening in our lives that are for our future. And we get solely focused on that next thing occurring for our happiness. And we don't really look at the fact that we are actively moving towards it. We have to really start zoning in. What is my reasoning? Well, I want to get to point B. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I'm in point A and I want to get to point B. And I can actually actively be happy about being in A because that means that I'm moving towards B. So you have to give yourself a little bit of perspective. What am I doing right now? Well, I want a new job. I'm currently in school learning new materials to meet that desire. Great. How can I feel good with what I'm doing? I can focus on the fact that I am moving towards a goal. It's perspective. Shift it. Being happy with where you are also requires you to get real. Right? I mean, think about it. Oftentimes when we're not happy with our lives, we go into black and white. But guess what? You don't live in black and white. We give this blanket idea that life would be better if, or life is all good or not good. But if you want to be happy and satisfied with your current situation, you have to try to look at what's good. So every night as I lay my head down on my pillow, I give myself 2 or 3 minutes to run through everything that went right in my day. Hear what I said. I didn't say all the things that went wrong. I said everything that went right. I don't dare lean into the messy or, look at the spectrum of everything I didn't accomplish that day. I just look at what works. Why? I'm looking for gratitude. Instead of obsessing about the hard and unnecessary, I'm looking for the positives. After a few weeks, you've trained your brain to look for the good. And the good is present in every day. And when we can find it, we're good with where we are. I told you these things are actually really simple. So the next thing that you can do is to really begin to look at the stories that you tell yourself. Think about your life. It really is a collection of stories and experiences, and yet you are not the things that happen to you. However, we are what we say we are. It seems kind of like it's an oxymoron a little bit, isn't it? But when we tell our mind to focus, that's really what we become. And so to be happy with where you are, you have to check your stories. Are you living the story that you're failing in life? If you are, you're not going to be happy. Are you telling yourself the dreaded conversation of when this happens, I'll be happy. When that happens, when this changes, I'll be happy. If you are, you're going to have a hard time winning. You're going to have a hard time staying present. You're going to feel like you're screwing up all the time. So check your stories. What are you saying to yourself? Find a story that makes you happy in the present moment and remain the main character, right? You have the power to do that, and it's really time to shift what you're telling yourself. And then lastly, I want you to look at your state of self-fulfillment. Self-fulfillment is the fulfillment of your hopes, ambitions, needs, and desires. It's about reaching your full potential, achieving success, and building a life that you're really proud of. But it starts in the current moment. Now, quickly, I need to tell you that fulfillment is a much longer term thing and happiness is actually a short term thing. So they're not one and the same, but we do need both. Happiness is, again, really what happens and then it goes away quickly. So we have to focus. So fulfillment is much more long term and it focuses on our bigger picture. To feel fulfillment doesn't mean that we have to be happy or joyous all day long every day. But instead, it does mean that we have to believe in something. It means that we have to have something that we're excited about. It means that we have to find contentment in our personal life, in the things that are working for us. And therefore, focus is necessary, right? We can find contentment in the day-to-day, but we have to focus on it. Being happy, being fulfilled means that we come to a space of living in the here and now and showing up. It's embracing today with all of its ups and downs and all of its adversities. Its highs, its lows. It's knowing I am good where I am because I am where the stuff is happening, right? That's a very simple way of looking at it, but I'm not in the past and I'm not in the future. I'm here where action is being taken. Being happy with where you are isn't difficult. You're making it too hard. Instead, ask yourself, what's my focus? Are my needs being met? Can I really show up? Am I striving to be present? Am I present? Am I fulfilled in this day? Can I find gratitude? Where is my focus? Stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. Don't worry about resolutions and intentions if it isn't your jam. Get simpler in your thoughts. What do I need? What do I want? How do I want to feel? Am I living the way I so desire to do? That is what it takes. Sure, that seems again wildly simple, and it is. It's all about shifting your thought, shifting your perspective. So try these very small shifts and see if anything changes. I hope it works for you, Ava, and I hope it works for everyone who takes the challenge to make some small shifts. Thank you so much for the question. I am honored to hold space with you and walk through this new year mindfully where we are. Again, I challenge all of you to change your mindset and give yourself more credit than perhaps you're allowing. It is easy to be happy where you are. Thank you so much for listening to the Get Your Life Together Girl mini mindset reset. If you have a subject or strategy request, email us at getyourlifetogethergirl@gmail.com. Or you can visit our website at getyourlifetogethergirl.com. If you're looking for daily inspiration or tips and tools, join the growing community at Get Your Life Together Girl on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Thank you for being a valuable member of this community. Until next time, be kind to yourself and others.